Swanee here with Campus Rec, registered massage therapist. Today we're going to be talking about shoulder pain and a little bit, and if you have any shoulder discomfort. Brought the model out here with me. Bear with me, I'm trying to film this myself and kind of demonstrate at the same time. This video is mostly going to be showing you what to do, what you can with the ball, and kind of the areas that you're trying to target, and that's kind of why I got the model out, because it's very difficult for me to show this on myself. So on the back side here, what you can do with the ball is essentially put your back up against the wall and try to, wiggle the ball down into the right area. Now, the big defining kind of border here is the spine of the scapula. So you're gonna feel that bump when you're on the back. So you're gonna want to be right below it. You can feel it with yourself if you kind of, use your hand and kind of feel back there. You're gonna feel a huge bump, right? Like a line that comes across, and that's that spine of the scapula. And then you're gonna want to either be above or below it when we're kind of targeting the two main rotator cuff muscles here. So above it, we have our supraspinatus. That muscle does abduction, so it brings your arm up. So to intensify it too while you're doing it, you can kind of have the ball a little bit on there, do a little bit of kneading. Again, nothing aggressive, gentle kneading, and then you can bring your arm actually in front. So while you're kind of back there, your arm can be in front of you, and then you can still do more of that kneading. And you might find it a little bit challenging, but when you find the right spot, then you'll thank me. Doing that just basically is putting the muscle into more of a stretch. So I've mentioned in my other videos, that's kind of a way you can intensify things, is by putting the muscle into a stretch while you're kind of kneading through it, whether it's being able to self-massage it, which in this case is quite difficult, or using, an object like this. The other spot then is right below the spine of the scapula, and that's our infraspinatus. So this one's a little bit tricky to stretch on its own. It's not usually advised to stretch it. I don't really prescribe stretching for it because usually it's weak. So if there's some discomfort there, certainly use the ball. In terms of strengthening it, that's a whole nother video. But again, we can put the ball against the wall. That's pretty easy to get. Again, you might slip over here. You'll feel that if you slip over onto this closer to the spine. So we're closer to the armpit, right? And then you're gonna, you can kind of knead in circles. You can go up and down, whatever feels good for you. Generally, I'd say kind of side to side, even if you can get it, is probably best, because that's more of the fiber direction of the muscle there. And you can also kind of get a little bit further or closer to the armpit in this area here, because you're also going to target two other muscles that are in the area, one being a rotator cuff muscle and the other not. That'll probably feel good if you have some shoulder discomfort. Usually people have complaints on the side of the shoulder if they have a rotator cuff issue. There's some referral pain, they feel it here. I personally had an issue with mine, and I definitely felt that. It feels good to knead a little bit on the side of the shoulder with the ball, and you can certainly do that, and it's very easy to do. Just putting your shoulder against the wall and kind of applying pressure. I would advise just not too aggressive, and be careful when you get closer to the front, because as you get closer to the front, you're going to have your biceps tendon here, and you're going to start to have those rotator cuff tendons come through on the front here on the greater tubercle and stuff. So you're not really going to want to dig in there, because it's not really going to feel very good, and you might actually aggravate those tendons further, and then you're just going to have more pain. So that's for that. In terms of stretches, let's see if I can show a couple of things here. Again, trying to do this myself. So like I was saying with the one, you can do while you're on the wall, bringing your arm straight across and lower. Most people are way up here when they do that, and that's okay. I mean, that's the deltoid. That's more of stretching the posterior delt. So you can do that too, it's fine. Again, 20-30 seconds holding these four, and you can do it many times, 3 times, 4 times, doesn't matter. I would say if you're in a lot of pain, I wouldn't advise stretching it multiple times like that. You might actually make it worse, just in terms of it being kind of aggravated. So maybe sometimes the best thing is to just do a little bit of gentle exercise and then just leave it alone. So this one I would say is a lot lower, so you're trying to get across. You're going to feel that kind of through here as well, so you'll get delt, but you're also going to be getting that supraspinatus muscle I was talking about before, okay? Other than that, I don't really, like I said, prescribe too much stretching for the shoulder. The last one I'm going to show, this is if you're up for it, it's a little bit tricky to show on here, but essentially you have, I'll show you on the model maybe first, okay? So underneath on the front side of our shoulder blade, so kind of in there, if I can get the camera to show, we actually have another muscle that is part of the rotator cuff group, and it's very often a part of the discomfort that people are feeling in their shoulder. They often feel that it's back here. They're like, yeah, it hurts all along here, whatever, but it's actually coming from the front side of it. And that's our subscapularis muscle. That is an extremely hard muscle to kind of access on your own. I'm going to do my best to, if anybody wants a challenge and see if they can get to it. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. So what I like to do is put my thumb, basically I'm trying to jam my thumb in that space. So you're in your armpit essentially, right? And you put your thumb, you're trying to go onto your shoulder blade, and then if you can kind of see, my fingers here are going on the back. So I'm grabbing my shoulder blade, okay? And I'm trying to dig in there with my thumb. This is, like I said, tricky. So you might not be able to get this. It might be uncomfortable. You don't have to try this, but if you can get your thumb in there, then you can kind of knead around gently with your thumb, and you'll know you're on it if you move your arm in, if you do that in at all, and you feel like something coming underneath you, and that's the muscle popping up, because that muscle does internal rotation, which is bringing the arm in. Like I said, that's a tricky one to do. You're welcome to try it. It might be a little bit challenging, but yeah, so that's kind of all I got. Like I said, there's not really too much more you can do by yourself. It's a little bit tricky to do these things on your own, but yeah, I hope that helped. And if you have any questions, of course, contact us. Other than that, stay safe, guys.